So the points really don't look too bad. I might re-gap them now, like I said, of feeler gauges. But other than that, there's not much I can do. What I can do, however, is test this condenser, because those can go bad as well. This happens to be one of the more annoying setups. There we go. Just going to pop it off so there's nothing else screwing with my readings. If need be, I have another one here that I believe is good. So there's the two condensers. Wrong way. I'm going to try and pop up my multimeter here in a way you guys can see, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. Hopefully you can see that. So the one I think is good is just, testing between the two leads. It's not showing up because, there we go. 269.8 nanofarads. Alright. And for those of you that didn't know, these condensers are just capacitors. So that's all I'm measuring here is capacitance. This unknown one. This is 279 nanofarads. Ooh, okay, so this is fine. That's good. Put this away for now. So, what is going on here? Maybe I'll just re-gap these points. So I gotta look it up what it should be. So, went back to the good old-fashioned Briggs & Stratton service instructions. And right here, you could see up there, 20 thousandths. So let me go grab a feeler gauge and we'll see if these are actually 20 thousandths or not. Part of me hopes these aren't 20 thousandths, so there's a reason for this thing to not be giving me spark. Oh yeah, they're definitely not 20 thousandths. Damn, those are it's a really small gap, that's why. Probably because I loosened the screw. Just making sure I'm getting a good ground here. Nothing. Damn it. That's irritating. Let's see what I did wrong here. Okay, so this is interesting. I just popped these points off, and there's some sort of like kind of cloth-like, tarry kind of stuff back here. Almost like it's insulating all this. Maybe they insulated them and relied on the screw to give a good contact, but to me that just doesn't seem right. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off of there. Maybe this was conductive at some point. It's definitely not anymore. And the back of the points are all crappy too. While I'm in here, I might as well do a check on this actual coil itself. I really hope it's not bad. Because, well, they're hard to come by. So, I'm going to pray that this thing isn't bad. And I'm going to go ahead and run a couple tests here. I got to look up what the tests are first, but I'll go ahead and do some. If the coil tests out fine, then I'm going to get some contact cleaner and clean all this crap off, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so what I'm going ahead and doing here is I took a little wire wheel there and I wire wheeled this surface, and now I'm just going to clean it up with some contact cleaner. Paper towel here, try and get all the crap off of there so that hopefully these points make a better ground. Hopefully. We'll see how well this actually works. Oh, I almost forgot to put the coil wire back behind here. That would have sucked. Oh my gosh. Forgot how annoying these points can be sometimes. We don't want that terminal touching anything it's not supposed to be touching. I'm going to go ahead and clean these feeler gauges too. A lot of times they get gummed up with some oil and stuff from storage. Alright. Seems like a nice, well, maybe a little loose, actually. That seems like a decent 20 thousandths there. And now we can go ahead and throw these wires back into where they're supposed to be. It can be very, very irritating sometimes. Luckily, this didn't seem to be one of those times. I really hope this works, because otherwise I'm going to be a little screwed. Alright, that seems to be all together now. Oh, that's right, I loosened up the coil too so I could readjust that gap as well. Which I'm going to do as soon as I get this cup back on here. Wrong way. Alright. It's obviously a bit tight. Let's look up in the book here what it's supposed to be. The Briggs Model N. You want 12 thousandths to 16 thousandths. I think I'll go with 15 because it's right in the middle there. See if we can find 12 thousandths. Actually, we'll do 14 thousandths. Alright. Go ahead and tighten these suckers up. Oh, and yes, I did temporarily throw a different plug wire on here, just because I was having some weird issues with the other one. Hey, we got spark! Yes! Alright, let's take a look. Oh, that's a big relief. Not the world's strongest spark, but that's definitely going to be enough to get it running. I just realized that I forgot to put the little air vane governor back on. But I took it off for a reason, actually. I wanted to point out that this is actually broken. You can see I'm holding the fin, and it's still spinning. You can see right there, that little joint there broke. But I think I'll fix it while it's on the machine, make things easier here. So I'm going to pop these two screws off here and throw this thing back on here, hopefully without disturbing my adjustments. And I'm only using the impact driver because it's quick here. There we go. It's back on there. I'll have to think of a way to fix that for now. Maybe hot glue or solder or something. But I got that back on there so I won't forget it. And better yet, we still have spark. I think this thing's also a little bent. I don't think it should be that close to the flywheel. Let's fix that while we're in here too. Just gonna bend this whole thing up just a little bit. That should help. Much better. Alright. So, I think what we'll do next is figure out the oil situation. Alright, so some of you may have noticed by now, but this thing's actually missing the little spring-loaded cap that would go there with the to hold the oil in, you know, keep it from spraying out. I'm not going to bother buying one. I think what I'm going to do, seeing as though this is only aluminum, is grab a plug like that, just try and thread that in there. So this could be interesting. I'm going to see how this goes, but hopefully it'll work out well. Get that started. Half inch, smaller than half an inch. So far, so good. I have to work this like a tap. I actually squirt a little lubrication down and around there, a little bit of WD-40. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit so you can see something other than the back of my hand. Don't want any metal shavings getting into the oil. That won't end well. Seems to be working pretty well so far, though. Plus, this doesn't need to go in particularly far. Wait a second. I don't want to grind new threads in there. There we go. It's actually a very fine threaded plug. Usually they're more coarse like this one, but whatever. Hopefully that will work. I'm sure there'll be one way to find out. So, speaking of finding out, I'm going to see if I have any oil lying around here and I can throw some oil in there. If I did, it would be up here. That's 5W30. That's 10W30, I just don't know if it's enough. Let's see, I'm going to try not to spill this everywhere, as I usually do. Generally with these old engines, it's just fill it until it comes out of the spout. Or fill it until you can't fill it anymore. Oh, here I go spilling it. Probably don't take very much. Oh! Whoops. Don't spin it over while you're pouring oil into it. Doesn't end well. So I'm definitely not going to do an extended run with only that amount in there. But it's better than nothing. So let's go ahead and throw our plug back in here. I'm going to grab my cord and splash so it splashes some oil around in there. There's no good way of holding this without the shroud on it. Alright. So hopefully that will splash some oil around in there. I'm going to wipe up what I spilled here. It doesn't give the false sense that it's leaking. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do now is actually... I'm very curious. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt this thing to the table. I'm going to dribble a little gas down the plug hole. And we're going to see if this thing will go. Alright. Here goes nothing. Almost. Again, this thing doesn't have a whole ton of compression, so... I also may have not put enough gas into it. Hey, we got a little something there. Quite a bit of smoke, like I said, because I poured a bunch of oil down the cylinder. But alright, that was really quiet. Let's do it again. There's nothing to grab onto. Hopefully the third time is the charm here. Almost. Almost. Sweet! I think it's time for a carburetor. So, I think I'm going to try hot gluing this little fin back onto its shaft for now. If that doesn't work, I'll go to soldering. But, as suspected, this thing came up in compression quite a bit. And the rule with Briggs and Stratton made, or I don't know if they made it, but the rule I always heard is if it bounces back like this, then it should be fine. And now I can barely turn it over. by hand, so that's pretty good. Alright, let's get this governor back together here. I'm just going to go ahead and screw this back on. Sweet. We actually have an interference fit here though. I'm going to try and move that down out of the way there. Hot glue is still cooling, but it doesn't seem to have stuck to the shaft very well. I might have to peel this off and solder it instead, which would be unfortunate, but that's how these things go sometimes. But anyways, carburetor's back on there for now, so if this dries and it works, then we'll keep it. Otherwise, I'll have to get the soldering iron out. Alright, so I got that all soldered back up. It's not the strongest thing in the world, but you take more to spin that. It's there. It's not the strongest thing, but it will work. So, I think what we're going to go ahead and do now is throw it all back together. I ended up having to take the carburetor off again just to get in there. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this all back together. I'm not going to worry about setting up the governor yet, because I don't think I have all the pieces. But let's get this all back together. Man. So guys, that's going to conclude part 2. Once again, we made a lot of progress on this. Finally got the spark back, added the plug for the oil, and it actually did run. So next video is going to be all about the carburetor and getting this thing going by itself. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in part 3.